Ademide thought the mystery of the lost sons had been resolved, because they usually die a week after birth. But Taya and Kehinde are now 5 years old. Why the sudden turn of events?
Hello everyone. On this channel, I bring timeless stories to life, sharing faith, wisdom, and inspiration through engaging storytelling. So let's dive into today's story and get ready to be inspired.
Once upon a time, in a small village in Oyo Kingdom, lived a young woman named Abike. Her life began with joy and promises, but it soon took a series of unexpected turns. Abike was the daughter of the village blacksmith, a man respected for his skills and strength. Her mother was known for her herbal remedies, kind heart, and wisdom. Abike was full of life and dreams while growing up. At the age of 18, she was considered one of the most beautiful girls in the village, with eyes that sparkled like the stars and a smile that could warm the coldest heart. It was no surprise when Ajayi, a handsome young farmer from a neighboring village, asked for her hand in marriage. He was a prosperous farmer owning vast farmlands. Ajayi and some of his family members visited Abike's family. Ajayi said to Abike's father, "Ekaaro, sir, I am Ajayi from the neighboring village. I wish to ask for your daughter's hand in marriage." Abike's father replied, "You are a good man, my son. My family will be honored to give you our daughter." The marriage was celebrated with much fanfare, and Abike, filled with hope and love, entered her new home with dreams of a bright future. Years passed, and Abike and Ajayi remained childless despite their best efforts. In a culture where children were considered the greatest blessing and a measure of a woman's worth, Abike's inability to conceive became a heavy burden. Whispers and rumors began to circulate, and the once affectionate gaze of her husband turned cold and distant. Doctors, herbalists, and priests were consulted, but all efforts were in vain. Abike's barrenness became a topic of scorn and pity among the villagers. After 10 years of marriage and no children, Ajayi's family pressured him to take another wife. One morning, Ajayi said to Abike, "Listen here, woman. It's time we accepted the truth. My family wants me to take another wife since you are barren." Abike, heartbroken, replied, "I understand. I will leave and return to my family." The situation became unbearable for Abike, and with a heavy heart, she decided to leave and return to her family's house. Abike's return to her family was a painful experience for everyone. Her parents welcomed her with open arms. The shame of her failed marriage weighed her down heavily, but she took solace in helping her mother with her healing practices, finding purpose in easing the pains of others, and this earned her the respect and affection of the villagers once more. She became known not only for her beauty, but for her wisdom and healing virtues. She was no longer the young bride whose dreams had been shattered, but a woman who had rebuilt herself from the ashes of her past. One day, a wealthy merchant from a distant village visited Abike's mother's herbal home. He had heard of Abike's skills and sought her help for his sick mother. The merchant said, "I have heard of your skills, Abike. My mother is very ill. Can you help her?" Abike replied, nodding her head, "I will do my best, sir." Within a short time, Abike's treatment worked wonders, and the merchant was impressed and grateful. When the merchant returned to his village, he told Ademide how nice Abike was and recommended her for marriage. Ademide was an older widower who had lost his wife some years back. His 3 daughters were all married and lived far away, and he was very lonely and in dire need of a companion. Ademide was highly elated and followed the merchant to visit Abike's family and ask for her hand in marriage. Abike was hesitant at first. The scars of her past still lingered, and the thought of entering another marriage filled her with dread. However, the merchant spoke highly of Ademide, describing him as a kind and gentle man who had faced his own shares of sorrows. After much contemplation and encouragement from her family, Abike decided to marry Ademide. Abike was welcomed into Ademide's home, and they spent hours talking, sharing stories of their lives and losses. Ademide had been blessed with many children, but life happened to him. All his male children had died mysteriously, leaving him with only daughters who were now married and living far away. Abike and Ademide found solace in each other's company. They understood each other's pain and loneliness, and a deep bond began to form between them. As months turned into years, Abike and Ademide's relationship grew stronger. They cared for each other deeply, and the house once again became a place of joy and love. Then something extraordinary happened. Abike had been sick for some weeks, so her husband advised her to seek for medical attention. She visited a herbal doctor who did a checkup on Abike and gave her some herbs to drink. The herbal doctor told her to come back in 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, Abike and Ademide revisited the herbal home and got the shock of their life. Abike, who was labeled a barren woman and had long given up hope of ever bearing children, discovered she was pregnant. A woman who was already in her 50s, a miracle that defied all odds. The news spread like wildfire, and the entire village was filled with astonishment and excitement. The pregnancy was not without its challenges though. Abike's age and her previous struggles made her cautious, and the fear of losing the pregnancy weighed heavily on her. But with Ademide's unwavering support and the care of the town's best healer, she carried the pregnancy to full term. When the day finally arrived, Abike gave birth to healthy twin boys. The town celebrated the miracle, and Ademide was filled with joy and gratitude. In the heart of the Yoruba land, twins were seen as divine, a blessing from God, and were named Tai and Kehinde. Tai and Kehinde were strong and healthy boys who played around the village a lot, and the villagers loved them. Abike and Ademide were filled with joy seeing the twins active and full of life, but their joy was about to be cut short. Strange occurrences began to happen around the house. Objects moving on their own, whispers in the night, and shadows lurking in the corners. Tai and Kehinde suddenly fell ill, and their case became worse by the day. Ademide thought the mystery of the lost sons had been resolved, because they usually die a week after birth. But Tai and Kehinde are now 5 years old. Why the sudden turn of events? The birth of the twins actually brought great joy and relief to Ademide. He felt his family line would continue, but the joy was about to be cut short. Ademide knew something was not right, but he still tried his best to comfort Abike and told her that everything will be fine. One night, as Abike and Ademide sat by the fire, an old friend of Ademide, a priest from the neighboring village, came to visit. He had heard of the strange happenings and offered to help. He stayed with Ademide and Abike for some days. Together, they sought for divine guidance, and the source of the disturbances was revealed. To their amazement, they discovered that a curse has been placed on Ademide's male children, causing them to die early. With the curse lifted, peace returned to Ademide and Abike's home. The strange occurrences ceased, and the family was able to enjoy their lives without fear. The twins continued playing around the village as always and grew into strong and healthy men, full of promises and potential. Taya and Kehinde, now in their 20s and prosperous farmers, found women whom they wanted to marry. Their marriages were fixed just a week apart. Family and friends came to celebrate with them. Ademide and Abike were filled with joy, and their joy knew no bounds. When Taya and Kehinde's wives gave birth 9 months after their marriage, the children were born 1 week apart. The family was complete, and their home was filled with love and laughter. Ademide and Abike both lived to see their grandchildren in their old age. The years passed, and Ademide and Abike grew older, and their love for each other and their children and grandchildren never waned. They had faced incredible challenges and emerged stronger, their bond unbreakable. The moral of the story: the tales of Abike teaches us strength and courage in overcoming adversity. It reminds us that we can rise above tough circumstances. Abike's empathy and healing touch earned her the respect of her community, highlighting the power of helping others, which actually led to her discovering Ademide. The unexpected blessing of twin sons shows us that life can bring joy when least expected, encouraging us to never lose hope. The eventual lifting of the curse on Ademide's family reinforces the significance of faith and spiritual belief in overcoming problems, and that wrongs can be made right and justice will eventually prevail. In conclusion, the tales of Abike teaches us about resilience, kindness, hope, love, justice, the importance of family, and the power of faith. Let these lessons inspire and guide us in our lives.
I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel, like, and share to others so that they will be inspired. Thank you.